The cost of war are enormous, involving lives, materials, and emotions. A new research by the European Peace Facility has shown that the Boko Haram terrorists and the Islamic State of West Africa province, ISWAP, launched 500 attacks on military bases during the attacks in the 12 years of insurgency in Nigeria and the Lake Chad region. 500 attacks and killed 2,368 soldiers. Babajide.
Yes, the report says that there were so many attacks on military bases of the multinational joint task force, as well as military bases of the countries in the Lake Chad basin, countries like Cameroon, Niger, Chad, and all that. So the paper was prepared for the European Peace Facility, was prepared for the United Nations by the European Peace Facility. I saw, and they actually broke down the attacks, showing clearly that in 2015, we lost 134 soldiers. In 2016, we lost 157. In 2017, we lost 171 soldiers. In 2018, we lost 425. In 2019, we lost 642. And in 2020, 423. This, and there was also talk about why the war has gone on and on. And as far as the writer of this report is concerned, the fact that Boko Haram can attack military bases and steal weapons is the major reason the war has gone on, because they need these weapons to be able to prosecute the war. So we just have to continue to pursue these enemies of the Nigerian state. And yes, we are hearing some good news, but we are cautious. We just hope that the efforts being made by the armed forces will continue without let, so that we can achieve victory. The final analysis, I'm not surprised about 2018, because that was the year when the terrorists attacked Metele. You know, that was the year that they attacked Zari. So that's why, and there were huge fatalities in those attacks. So that's why, from their tabulation of the year-on-year attacks, you could see that 2018 and 2019 were quite high.
Adekunle, the report also talked about the need for the EU to engage the AU and ECOWAS to address the problems of attack on multinational joint task force troops. What kind of help can these foreign allies provide?
Even a lot, even if it's about intelligence gathering. If, you know, Nigeria's neighbors, if we have enjoyed more cooperation with our neighbors, maybe the problem would have, we may not have won the war completely, but possibly we have made, you know, more progress. You get my point? Now, if you make it an all Africa, you know, issue, when everybody is on the table, you share intelligence, you cooperate. Funding is another aspect. So there is a lot the AU can do beyond just sharing information. You can pull resources. They can pull even logistical resources. You can pull military. You can share training just as easily, you know. So there's a lot we can do together if we are united. Because the problem in Nigeria is, if it's not, you know, it's a problem for the whole of Africa.
All right. I have joining us the DG of the Progressive Governors Forum, Sally Lukman. Thank you for staying with us.
Thank you, Ayo.
Thank
And
you.
thank you, everybody on the studio.
Thank you for
Thank you.
staying with us. So the
Thanks very
network
much for the
is
opportunity.
so that means the network is quite okay.
Well, at least for now, I can't guarantee in the next few minutes.
That's good.
Okay. Let's go by start by the statement you made recently about elites fueling insecurity in our country. How exactly do you mean?
I think it's a matter that we have to keep reminding people there is a boundary about politics. It's not a good thing that we should politicize. Issues of insecurity are issues that we should all be united to give whatever support we can give to government in order to ensure that our country is safe. Now, before the last 2 weeks or thereabout, before the military launched the current attack in the forest of Zamfara, Katsina, and part of Kaduna, the major complaint is that people want the military to act. Now, the military has acted, and then we are having people criticizing to the ridiculous extent of calling on the military to stop and that there should be negotiation with the bandits. These are not human beings. These are not human beings. So that's the major issue. I am worried that we tend to politicize a number of issues which doesn't require politicization. We should all be united to ensure that this problem is brought to an end. That is the main issue,
Okay, after almost 20 years since it was born, Boko Haram still kills our soldiers, and what do you think government should do?
I think a number of some of these issues, from all that is clear now, is that investment in the armed forces of Nigeria has been quite weak. And you can see the difference that is being done with the new renewed effort to do some massive investment in terms of weaponry. Of course, that has to be extended to training. But I am hoping very soon we'll bring this matter to an end. Immediately it is end, I think we must campaign that our government do some massive investment in a number of these forums. If it is training institutes for our armed forces, we must never allow our forests to be vacant in such a way that hooligans will go and take over and make life uncomfortable for all citizens. I think that should be the new campaign immediately we are done with these rascals bandits.
All right. Okay.
What's your impression of the military campaign going on in the Northwest at this time? I'm sure you must have been receiving some reports.
Yeah, I think it's very heartwarming. It's very heartwarming. At least the bandits are now the ones that are uncomfortable. They are looking for food all over the place. They are being forced to release captives, people they have kidnapped, because they can't even feed. They are now faced with the challenge of survival, which is what they created for all of us. And I think the military is doing wonderfully well. Whatever encouragement we should give them, this should be sustained.
Can the military approach solve that problem decisively?
No. It has to be a combination of both the military approach and civil approach. Because you see, part of the major crisis we have as a nation is the fact that investment in education has been so weak. From the mid-80s, when the World Bank IMF campaign about reduce public expenditure in education, in health, and a number of... So there is a wide gap. So many children who are supposed to be in school are not in school. And you can see the gap in terms of classroom, in terms of schools. So part of the civil initiative that must be stepped up is the question of really developing our educational system so that every child has an opportunity. Because you see, before we get to a point when people that look like human beings have lost their humanity and are behaving the way the bandits are doing, is simply because at the critical period when they are supposed to be developed, we have lost it. We have lost them. We have not been able to pay attention to them. So part of the civil approach has to factor that. The other thing is that I think we must also engage our traditional institutions.
Yeah.
A situation where, for instance, we allow gaps in our cities, in
It's
our
not too bad now.
communities, anybody can come and stay there without basic check. These are part of a major challenge, and it's not the military that can solve that one. It has to be civil, people in the community that should be able to do that. So there are quite a lot of things that can be done. But finally, the major aspect we have to really address is the question of our police work. And I don't think we have the luxury.
Okay, what's your position on the views by some people that repentant Boko Haram or repentant terrorists should get amnesty?
Hello?
Yeah, that was just made.
Okay, Adekunle Yusuf asked you about the repentant Boko Haram.
What's your position?
What's your position on them?
Should they get amnesty?
Should they get amnesty? Should they be tried?
You see, I am not a good.
Okay, we're having serious challenges with the network there, but that was the Director General of the Progressive Governance
for a number of those things.
Sally Lukman. Sally, are you still there? Oh.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, Sally, you can continue.
That on the person of repentant Boko Haram, I think I can only hope that our leadership are able to take the right decision to manage the challenges that is going to come up. But I don't think it's a matter that I can sit and start commenting on with my little knowledge, because there are practical issues on ground people have to respond to. And I must have confidence that those responding to it are responding with the best of intention.
Okay, so we just leave it there. We just took our chances with Sally. He told us before, the Director General of Progressive Governance Forum, Sally Lukman. Thank you for that clarification, and thank you for your contribution. I'm sure one of these days we'll be able to have an long exclusive interview with you, Babajide. So looking at where we are now, and when we want to talk, is something that's, I don't know, I have a feeling that the everyday story of the bandits is somehow overshadowing the effects or what is happening in the Northeast. But the Northeast somehow has taken the backstage, talking about terrorism in Nigeria now.
Yes, clearly bandits are killing more people than Boko Haram at this time.
They're killing more people?
Yes, certainly now they are killing more people. Bandits killed 88 persons in one day in Kebbi State. 88 persons. We can't remember when Boko Haram killed that number of people last. Must have been a long time. So now, and they don't forget, under the new leadership of Boko Haram, under the leadership of Abu Musab al-Banawi, he does not believe in killing civilians. He believes in...
Not like Mr. Shekau.
He believes in attacking civilian JTF,
and the military,
police, and the army. Those are the people that he prefers to kill. And he's told the people that, look, you can access your farms as long as you are ready to pay tax. And we've seen
within the kingdom.
we've seen pictures, even videos of people's farms thriving in the areas that is in control of. We've seen even
Are you kidding me?
the judicial system, that they put. Yes, they have their courts, and they are trying people
Within the
and
Federal
all that.
Republic of Nigeria.
So, as you will not be hearing of, because they have also merged the two groups.
Okay.
Now they've merged the two groups, so you won't be hearing of killing of civilians like we used to have. So that is why.
I'm tempted to say that I don't mind his philosophy, but they are terrorists.
They are terrorists.
But Chika is just a madman loose.
Yes,
killing everybody.
that was a psychopath who kill his own commanders, who killing Photocol, Cameroon. One of his commanders bought a motorcycle and showed it to him. That I just bought a motorcycle. I bought it in Photocol, and he ordered his execution straight away. So. He was just a terrible human being, a former perfume seller who suddenly became a warlord.
Become the original perfumes.
All those normal. So now I think almost 2 weeks ago there was an attack on the military base in Ran. Ran
okay.
is in Calabalge local government, is along the border with Cameroon. So for a long time too, there was no story of an attack on a military base by Boko Haram until that one of almost 2 weeks ago. So generally we're having some calmness in the area, and then the surrendering of the largely Sheikh House people, you know, is also something to be happy about. But
almost 5,000 people.
I don't know how many there are, but a lot of the Sheikh House people and their wives, their
children,
you can say that they are not active fighters. Because even from the weapons surrendered, you know that they are not active fighters. But the war has not ended. We still have ISWAP with its headquarters in the Lake Chad Islands. We still have them. They remain a threat. So, and just as they've said, a lot of the weapons of the army have been looted by these guys. They loot weapons because they know that without those weapons, they can't have an edge over the army. So it's a war that is still on. We should never deceive ourselves that the war has been won. We jubilated too early in the past, and
it was fatal.
Those guys are still there. So, but the efforts to continue to waste them and get them to realize that they can't defeat the Nigerian state. Whether it takes 1,000,000 years, Boko Haram cannot defeat the Nigerian state. You know, and one day, this war will come to an end. I only pray that it won't take 30 years, as the former Chief of Army Staff said, that in Insurgency, by God's grace, this one will not take 30 years.
Be as strong as the Taliban's.
No.
Come out, overrun.
God forbid.
The whole country. Adekunle, let me ask you exactly what you asked Mr. Saliu Lukman. Exactly. Yes, we've been discussing it. It's like a catch-22 situation. Very, very difficult to, you know. These people, their decision to even join Boko Haram ab initio, some of the women that you've seen the visuals and everything were married to their commanders. Some were, you know, actively involved in the planning and everything. Some men actually took part in all the strategy session and everything. Now, you're now saying because of the division in that camp, you are now saying you want to come back to Nigeria as a citizen. How do you want the people of Ran, the people from, you know, all these communities that has had their own bad fair share of attacks?
You know, all this, you know, is happening because there's no enough transparency in the whole affair on the part of the government. You have this, you have that. You see, to carry people along in anything you are doing, you need transparency. And when people are carried along. It's so easy to do a lot of things. We started hearing, through the grapevine that some people had been released, they have been de-radicalized, and then later this repentant Boko Haram and all. You see, for all of this to take place, who is discussing about the lives that have been ruined, people that have died? If you have visited some of these communities destroyed by Boko Haram, you won't believe you are in Nigeria. You will see bridges, schools, everything destroyed, and now those who committed these atrocities against our country, maybe because of the renewed effort of the military, they realize that the balance of power has changed. They now come back to us that they have repented.
Accept us.
And,
bandits now begging.
And we now want to behave like, lily-livered, people, to now embrace them. Believe me, we should not. Many of them who have cases to answer, they must answer their case. By just saying sorry, does it atone for all the criminalities you have done? It's because, do you know that many families will never recover from this?
Never.
Many will never ever recover.
Even the community, the villages, the
first people into marriage, 16-year-olds.
And many of them will return with 4 children, 3 children, 5 children.
People who are in school.
So 6 children, and
That's good. Yeah.
how can you reverse the hand of the clock?
So I have Abdul from Sokoto. Thank you for joining us, Abdul.
Yeah, good morning. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Abdul.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please. You're live.
I commend the topic you guys are speaking on, and it's something that we feel like it needs to be heard, and let you guys be vocal about it. Because the current situation of the country right now is not something when one cannot travel and be safe. It's not a good thing at all. So comment what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's done.
All right. Thank you, Abdul. Thank you for your contribution.